Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Rust Belt Football Show. We are just so excited to jump right into this. I am Bryce the Bears fan, and I'm joined here by Alex the Bills fan. Alex, how you doing?
I don't think that those quarterfinals could have gone any worse for our teams.
I don't know if I agree with that 100%. I think I left crushed, but without a bitter taste in my mouth. I know that for some reasons that we're going to get into, you left with a pretty bitter taste in your mouth, even more so in the days that followed the game than the game itself.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on that game.
Well, tell me about it. Just take me through that experience as a fan watching that happen to your favorite team.
So, as we got towards the fourth quarter, I started to have some hope that the Bills were going to turn this thing around. And then we go to overtime, and uh, the Broncos get stopped on their first drive, and I go, okay, this is it. This is where we're gonna win. And then the interception happens, and then we go to the Broncos victory, of course, after several penalties from the Bills defense, and that just felt like an awful way to lose that game. A combination of a couple of things. That first penalty, is it the or not the penalty, but is that interception, that first ref call, is it an interception? Is it down by contact? And I really struggle with that for a couple of days. And then we have the two subsequent penalties, and it was an awful way to lose the game.
Believe me, I'm sure
And
we'll be
not just
talking about all of those calls in a later
yeah,
segment.
yeah, not just awful for the Bills, but for the Broncos too, because of course after the game we find out Bo Nix broke his ankle. So not only did the Bills lose, the Broncos lost too, and it just I can't feel I feel crushed. I don't know if I could be any more defeated by that game for both of our teams, the Bills and the Broncos in that situation.
Yeah, and just going into the bear side of things, it was very much a roller coaster, and it was the only way that a Bears game or this Bears season could end. It couldn't possibly end any other way. After all that I have been through and all that this team has done over this year, to end that way is just only fitting. Um, when Caleb hits that touchdown, when he's running backwards and he throws a 50-yard, 14-yard touchdown on a rope where the safety sees what's happening and just kind of gives up because he just goes, play's over. He's not making this throw. If he plays defense there,
Ah,
then the game's over. Like the overtime doesn't even happen. And so that I'm sure had Rams fans not too pleased. Actually, I know for a fact it didn't. Shout out to Payo Time and the Rams Nation over there. Love you guys. But yeah, so to have that happen, and then I see that, I think, oh, it's destiny. Like the Bears are gonna win the Super Bowl, right? That's where my mind was at that point. You go to overtime,
I I really thought you guys were gonna win that game. I
and
did.
just to touch on the 2 point conversion thing, because I've seen a lot of discourse about that. Bears couldn't do anything in goal to go or short yard situations in general all game, and so I do not have any reprehension about Ben Johnson not going for two there. It hadn't worked all game, and so he didn't trust it. You go to overtime, and then the bet pays off. You get a 3-and-out, and so we get the 3-and-out, and they're like, I don't know, 3 or 4 plays into that drive in overtime, and I look at my brother sitting beside me, and I say, they only need 3. It just clicked. I was like, and in my mind at that point, we're like, the Bears are going to win this game. Like there's no even inkling in my mind that the Bears were going to just throw the game away because they hadn't done it all year. And then DJ Moore doesn't run his route. Caleb throws the ball. He doesn't need to take that throw. An incredible play by the defensive back, and the Bear season is over. and it just kills you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I still have a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
I still
Yeah.
have a coach. And so after all of that, like, I have not just a coach. I have one of
You have
the coaches in
you
the
have a
National
guy.
Football League. And we have one of the coaches. We have one of the quarterbacks. I am to the point now where I'm putting Caleb on that tier. I don't care about his completion percentage. Anyone that wants to say that can just go and have a conversation in their little echo chamber. It's the first episode. I'm trying not to say anything too crazy. They can go and talk in their little echo chamber and have a great time over there. We don't need them here. Because
I don't think anyone can argue at this point Caleb's not a really good quarterback. They can argue maybe he's not in the top 5, but I don't think anyone can argue he's not a really good quarterback.
He's incredible. And in year 2 in this offense is just going to be incredible. I was watching some of his highlights earlier today, and it's just jaw-dropping.
And Ben Johnson, how many head coaches can turn around a franchise like Ben Johnson has done from the Matt Eberflus era in one season like that? How many coaches can do that?
The crazy thing is, I can think of 4 in relatively recent history, and 2 of them were this year. That's the crazy thing, right? And I would even say 5, and 3 of them were this year. You could argue Liam Cohen did it with the Jags.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Vrabel did it with the Patriots.
Again, yeah.
Ben Johnson does it with the Bears. And then McVay did it with the Rams, although it wasn't quite as bad, but it was still pretty bad. And then Shanahan did it with the 49ers, but again, not quite as bad. But those 2 guys are like creme de la creme of offensive coaches in all of football. So it's not common. Like, you think about it, it's like, oh wow, 5 guys, but then how many people have been hired and fired in that time? Like, it is absolutely insane. But speaking of coaches, and coaches being fired and hired, it's time for us to think about our coaching carousel. So, we went through and we graded all of the coaches that we thought were getting hired and what we thought of them and the situation. It's a combination of both. And we started with the first one, the Giants. When the Giants hired John Harbaugh, it felt like it was just already written in stone. Like, it was one of those things where I had heard so much already about John Harbaugh becoming the Giants coach that it came happen. It's like, okay. All right. Yeah. And for me, it's an A+. I'm curious, why not an A+ for me?
Well, okay. I'm willing to give it the A, obviously. Obviously. It's John Harbaugh. I think everybody knew immediately the firing news comes out. Okay, where's John Harbaugh getting hired now? He's immediately the top of the list coaching candidate. Why not the A+? Well, because of what happened this year with the Ravens. And you might not say that's all on John Harbaugh, but I just hesitate a little bit to put that A+ there because of how this season has gone for the Ravens with John Harbaugh. And maybe what he needs is just a different environment, new players, and to refresh his coaching style. But obviously something wasn't quite working there in Baltimore this year. So that's why I'm not going the A+.
That's fair. Like, I think the worst possible range of outcomes, the worst possible outcome in the range of outcomes is that this is just Pete Carroll again. Right? Like, that is the worst possible scenario. I don't think that's the case, to be clear. I don't think so either. I gave it the A+. But if you're looking for a way to poke holes in it and find an example of why it won't work, that would be it. You could say that this is basically the same as the Pete Carroll hire, and they were both supposed to be the same thing. Moving on to the Falcons.
Okay.
I give this an A.
Okay.
In no small part because this is the best quarterback that Kevin Stefanski has ever had as a head coach. And I don't think it's close. I mean, you know my thoughts on Shedeur Sanders. I'm sure we'll get into it plenty during the
Yeah.
offseason.
Yeah.
I think I'm not a huge Michael Penix guy. I think Michael Penix is significantly better than anything Stefanski has ever had. And so I'm very interested to see how this works. I'm assuming they move off of Kirk Cousins, but maybe they don't.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't
Stefanski
know
says he likes
because
him. I don't know.
Kirk's had a great second half. Like when he came in, he comes in the second half of the season. He has a couple meh games, but then he starts to perform really well. So I don't know. Like Kirk Cousins, I mean, they have him for 4 years.
Right.
I don't know. Are they going to have some kind of QB competition before the start of next season between Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins?
I doubt it. I just don't see it. I
Okay.
think when you bring in a new coach like that, you want to establish stability, and you want the team to know that you're here, right? You don't want there to be some uncertainty of like, oh, who's the guy, who isn't the guy. So I would suspect that we will see Stefanski come out relatively soon and say, this is my guy. And it'll probably be Michael Penix because the Falcons did
Yeah.
restructure Kirk Cousins' deal to make it easier to move off of him after, I think, March 18th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you gave that a B. Very
Yeah. So
interesting.
I give him the B because I hear great things about Kevin Stefanski.
Yep.
Obviously, two-time winner, Coach of the Year. I, in my short time though, watching football and being a fan of football, haven't really seen a whole lot of craziness out of Kevin
That's fair.
Stefanski. So I, in my limited knowledge of of Kevin Stefanski, I'm not convinced of an A yet. But that might change if when he goes to the Falcons and maybe does great things.
That's 100% fair. I support you going there and saying that you need to see it to prove it. I think
Because
that's
my only experience with Kevin Stefanski is this year him on the Browns, and it's just there wasn't much there to really be excited about this year.
when your quarterback's that limiting. What are you gonna do?
And
That's
we
all I
went
have
through
to
three
say.
quarterbacks on the
Right.
Browns this year, and again, nothing exciting really ever happened. Maybe a little bit with Shedeur, because I don't know, yeah.
Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins. Now this surprised me. When you sent
Okay.
this over to me,
Okay.
this
Yeah.
surprised me.
Yeah. Okay. This.
I think
I,
this is the most middle of the road. Like, it makes sense. I understand the process. It is not bad process by any means. I don't see the huge upshot. I think he's a fine coach, but as a head coach, he couldn't even achieve a winning record in the ACC. So, like, I have my
yeah.
reservations. I'll put it that way. So, you
Well,
gave it an A. Tell me why.
I gave it an A. Okay.
Convince me.
So, okay. This year, I mean, this might be a hard sell because Packers
Uh huh.
defensive coordinator. I know you love the Packers, so you can't though that Packers defense was humming all year long. I mean, and then they lose Micah and they have a couple of bad games at the end there, but that Packers defense was something to behold. I felt this season. And maybe I don't know. Maybe you disagree with that, but and maybe that doesn't just necessarily qualify someone for head coach, right? Obviously,
Right.
but from what I saw from Jeff Hafley this year, I was impressed.
That I understand that. My thing is that I mean, first off, I need this Packers job security.
I know, right?
Like, if you're telling me that where I can go to a job where we can go and match up one on one against our biggest competitor and blow have two catastrophic collapses in a row, and then one of the guys keeps his job and doesn't just keep his job, he gets a raise and a contract extension, and the other guy gets a huge promotion to be
Yeah,
that's insane. I understand the process. I'm not saying I would have fired Matt LaFleur. I am saying that giving him an extension is just, in my mind, it's just bad optics. just giving it to him right away like that. They're not a dumb franchise, even though I think like losing Micah, while that is a big blow, like their pass rush was non-existent after that. So I don't know. Like they had a lot of injuries. Everyone has injuries, so no one wants to hear anyone cry about it. But yeah, that's my two cents on that.
Sure, fair enough.
Moving on.
I could probably be talked out of the A, but you know what? Why not? You know,
there is absolutely
yeah,
a world where he becomes an A and I look like an idiot for giving him
yeah,
a B. That's a very real possibility. Moving to the Titans.
yeah. This is
Yeah. I gave this a C plus. You gave it a C.
yeah,
We're both right there. I'm a little bit more optimistic because I'm not going to crucify him for his tenure with the Jets because
yeah.
it was the Jets.
No,
I'm
that's
not sure
fair.
what else
And
needs to be
obviously,
said.
we see Aaron Glenn go to the Jets this year, like great defensive coordinator over with the Lions, then comes to the Jets, has an awful year. So maybe it's not always the coach's fault. But when most of this guy's tenure is 3 years with the Jets, I'm not excited about it. And you know, maybe he can turn that story around. But yeah, I'm not excited about him as a coaching prospect.
Yeah, like for me, a big part of it was I really think the best thing for the franchise is to do whatever gets Cam Ward to the highest he can get, like as close as he can get to a ceiling. And a big part of that for me, I mean, I'm living it right now with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, right? Is pairing him
Yep.
with an offensive guy that will be able to not just give him an offensive system, but give him a consistent offensive system that he can carry over year to year. Um, I loved Mike McDaniel for this job. I really like the idea of Mike McDaniel working with Cam Ward for the foreseeable future. I thought that was great. And now you're going to pair him with a guy that hopefully you like, but if you don't like him, then you're firing a guy and then you're hiring another guy next year, or it's a mediocre system. He's not going to reach his ceiling, or the guy does awesome and then he's hired away next year and he's in a new system anyways. So that's where the lower grade comes from for me. If it wasn't for that and I wasn't factoring Cam Ward or the offensive system at all, I would probably put it at a B just because I think Saul is a good coach. I don't necessarily know that he's some crazy needle mover like a Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel or whatever. We don't really have a ton of those in the cycle to begin with, other than
Well,
John Harbaugh.
and speaking of Vrabel, I mean, that's another thing that concerns me about the Titans is who's getting these guys. Their management of who's hiring these coaches and who's deciding when these coaches get fired because they had Vrabel and then they gave up Vrabel. So I don't know if I have full trust in their competence to pick good coaches. Yeah, yeah, because of that. Because then
Yeah.
look at what Vrabel's done this year in New England. It is crazy. So yeah,
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. I think it's very telling that Salah got a job before Flores did. Um, I think this is a lot about how the league views both of these guys, but in particular Brian Flores. There's a lot of talk. The media loves to talk about Brian Flores, and he's getting a lot of interviews. So I'll give him that. He's getting a lot of interviews. He's an incredible coach, but you don't get to do things like sue the NFL and get away with it. And also, it's hard when you're not getting references. Because Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of infamously said that he would not get a single positive reference from anyone in Miami. So I just wanted to tack that on there. I found that very interesting that this was the guy that got there. Now, the final vacancy that got filled, like as we were getting our stuff
yeah.
together for this episode, is the Ravens. I had Jesse Minter as my top candidate
Did you? Okay.
for the Ravens going into this. So that was pretty cool to me. Very interesting story with him
Yeah.
because he didn't get a single head coaching interview last year.
Okay.
And a bunch of people were sitting there going, what? Like, cause he was awesome. Like he was incredible last year. Like he did so much for that team. And it was just kind of a weird, like, what's going on here? He fires his agent Yes, coaches have agents. I
Yeah.
surprised me a little
Okay.
bit too.
Okay. Well, yeah.
He fires his agent, and then now he literally interviewed for every single job.
Did he? Wow. Okay.
So to go from none to every single one of them when a third of the league has a vacancy, it is pretty. There was something going on there, some malpractice.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Going on
then
there
he
last year.
gets the Baltimore job, which
Yes,
is arguably the top two coaching positions
I
right
I think
now.
it's the best coaching position.
You
I
think? Okay. Okay.
I
Fair
think
enough. Fair enough.
just the situation
I have a
is the
little bit
best.
of
I think
bias.
the thing that tips it for me, because I do think the main selling point for both of them, the Bills and the Ravens jobs, is you get to work with one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. That's it.
Yeah.
With the Ravens, you also get like a steady environment. I don't think you get that with the Bills right now.
No, the Bills, and again, you gotta have some concerns about head office with the Bills. A lot of concerns with the team building on the Bills. But you have the best quarterback in the NFL on the Bills, so there's that.
One of 3. I'll give you one of 3. And so yeah, but the only reason I didn't give him an A plus, take it to the bank, is because he's a first time head coach. There's a lot of
Yeah.
unknowns there. I really, really, really like the fit. I think it's going to work very well for everybody involved. But I want to leave a little bit of room for error. Just because I don't know who he's bringing in for his offensive coordinator, and that's a very, very important part of what you have to do when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, who is turning 30. Like Lamar and Josh Allen they're both hitting 30, and that's a scary age for quarterbacks because you start to realize that you're running a little bit short of time.
Hmm. I know, and that's why I do like the whole the Sean McDermott decision, even though it hurts a little bit. It's like I want Josh Allen to get that Super Bowl while he's in his prime still, and what we got to do what we got to do to get that.
It's I almost wish you would have just waited until next year, and then you have a
Yeah,
shot at a guy like Mike Tomlin, or like I don't know. The problem is there's not many crazy offensive minds coming through the pipeline. Like Mike McDaniel would have been awesome, but I just don't think he fits the vibe. For the same reason I didn't think he fit the vibe in Detroit. Um, but it's gonna be a very interesting thing that to navigate is how that goes, because there's not a ton of information available for the Bills interviews because it's still relatively recent. Um, but we
yeah.
will get into that shortly. There are obviously still a bunch of openings. And
Hmm.
so if we take a look at those, we rank them out. And so we're just gonna come up with all of them real quick, and then we'll go through them one by one.
Okay.
We both have the Bills as the best available job
Yeah.
to no one's surprise. Um, After that, there's only one difference.
There's only okay. I see here. Yeah,
And
Raiders and Steelers are
so just to run it down quick, I have the Bills 1, Steelers 2, Raiders 3, Cardinals 4, Browns 5.
yeah.
Alex has Bills, Raiders, Steelers, Cardinals, Browns. Pitch me the Steelers.
Okay.
Is this because they have the number 1 pick?
You mean Pidgey Raiders? Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sorry, yes. Pitch me the
This is
Raiders.
because obviously they have Genty, they have Brock Bowers, they have some weapons over there in Las Vegas, but barring some really catastrophic decision making, they get Mendoza, uh, and as the number 1 overall pick, and everything I've seen out of that guy from college highlights and the games that I've seen, like, just blows me away. I mean, clearly he's incredible, and the Raiders are going to get this guy. And so, if you also, as the Raiders, bring in a good head coach, and you have Mendoza and a new head coach, and all the other weapons you have in Vegas, like, that could be scary. They could be the next Bears next year. Like, for real, I think. Like, if they hit on their head coaching.
That's a tough sell for me. That's a tough sell.
But they have to hit on the head coach. They have to get the right one, obviously.
So, I get where you're coming from. The problem is they played in a division with the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes at least claims that he's going to be ready to go for Week 1.
I don't know if I buy that. But you never count Patrick Mahomes out. Like,
right.
He's a great quarterback. I mean, he's one of the best. You never count him out. But I
He's
don't know
number
if
one.
yeah.
He's
Well,
let's be
number
real.
2.
He's number 1.
Number 2.
You have the Chargers, who just hired Mike McDaniel, who I know you love. Like, we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about the assistant coaching hires. I know you love the hire. I really like the hire too.
Yeah, I sent you a list. I didn't put any other assistant coaches in it, or any like coordinators other than Mike McDaniel, who I put as rank on McDaniel.
It's fantastic.
It's kind of a meme.
I was a little bit worried that he was going to go to like the Titans and be there for a year and then get hired away and whatever. But going to a guy like Justin Herbert is just perfect. Like they both need each other. So like it's the perfect pairing.
And McDaniel loves the run game. Justin Herbert loves to run.
Yep.
It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. But so you have those two teams, and then you also have the Broncos, whose defense is not going to get worse.
Yeah,
so
I know.
That's a really tough sell for me to say that they're going to be the next Bears and go worst to first. But it is going to be very. I think you sold me a bit. I think you sold me on.
It's tough because you're right. You're right. Like I don't think that they can really win their division, but I can easily see them being a wild card team next year.
So who are they beating out in their division for the wild card?
Or in their division.
Put it on the record right now.
I don't know, man.
Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos. At least one of them realistically has to go.
Yeah. That's such a stacked division. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like maybe the Chiefs. If the Chiefs haven't figured out what they need to figure out for next year, and they have a repeat year, maybe the Chiefs end up sitting at the bottom of that division next year. I don't know. I don't feel great about saying that though. But
I don't see it. I think even in the worst case scenario, they have a premium pick at the draft, which I would not be shocked if Jeremiah Love is there. I would not be shocked if they drafted him. If Caleb Downs is there, Spags will be drooling if they draft him. So it is going to be very interesting to see. But yeah, I think you sold me that Raiders job. Like the thing with the Steelers job is that it is going to be so patient. Like the front office is famously patient. So they're gonna hire a young guy if they stick to the trend. They might buck the trend, but
yeah,
a franchise for 70 years and they've had 3 coaches. They love hiring young guys and just letting them figure it out. And so, very interested to see what happens if the Steelers end up picking pretty high because they can't sell off their older assets like TJ Watt because he's 32, making $32 million next year against the cap. Yep. So that's gonna be very interesting.
That's a fair point. There's a real job security there in Pittsburgh. So that's a really good point if you're a coach wanting that position. But obviously they're going to have a quarterback problem very soon if they don't already have it. So that is what I would worry about with Pittsburgh, because Aaron Rodgers, we don't know if he's coming back.
I saw that he's not going to come back.
You don't think so? Okay, I don't really know.
I've seen a few reports that are saying that they expect him to not come back.
So then you have who's going to be their next guy, and they obviously don't have great draft capital because they finish middle of the pack always, right. So they're not going to be able to go and draft a quarterback this year.
Well, you know who might be on the board?
Ty Simpson,
your guy.
Yeah, my guy, Ty
Your
Simpson.
guy, Ty Simpson.
But I think he goes before the Steelers draft pick. Because where are they picking this year?
22, I
Yeah,
think,
I
something like
think
that,
I
somewhere in
I
there.
on it. I think with Dante Moore out of this draft this year, Ty Simpson goes before 20 in the draft.
I just
And
don't
then,
know, man.
because I could see, like, for example, the Rams wanting to pick up Ty
They picked
Simpson.
21. I was one off. They picked 21.
Okay. Because the Rams are gonna, like, they have Stafford, and Stafford they'll probably stick with for another couple years, but they're gonna be looking for Stafford's successor pretty soon. So I could see the Rams taking Ty Simpson at their pick, which is like 13 or 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah,
And so I just don't see the Steelers ever getting a hold of Ty Simpson.
that's fair.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
We'll see. I don't know. I just don't think he's ready, and I wonder if NFL teams think the same. But it only takes one team.
Maybe.
It
Yeah.
only takes one
Miami
team.
too is another possible option. They have uh two picks, I think, before even Rams. Miami, they also potentially have a quarterback problem. I don't know if they're going to stick with Tua. Obviously, with Ty Simpson, you have him on a rookie contract. That's not going to affect their cap space as much. So again, Miami might be another possible option that takes him.
Yes, just to blast through the rest of the openings real quick. I'll pull it back up here. I do want to read through some of uh, the interviews that these teams have taken that still have spots
Okay.
available. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have requested to interview Joe Brady, Vance Joseph, Mike LaFleur, Anthony Weaver, Raheem Morris, Arthur Smith, Matt Burke, Jesse Minter, Chris Shula, Matt Nagy, Thomas Brown, and Clint Kubiak. Couple names that stand out for me there, just real quick. Vance Joseph, I think makes some sense there. Um, Anthony Weaver, I believe has signed on with Harbaugh.
Oh, has he?
I
Okay.
think uh, in New York, but that doesn't actually prohibit him from taking a head coaching job.
Oh,
So that's an
interesting.
interesting thing.
Doesn't
Like just because someone signs an offensive coordinator contract does not mean that they cannot still be hired away. Which I
okay.
didn't know before this
Fascinating.
week,
Okay.
but I guess that is a thing. Raheem Morris would be interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Chris Shula would make a lot of sense, but I think he would rather wait. Matt Nagy would be hilarious because I have no idea what product Matt Nagy's put on the field either with the Bears or after the Bears would make you think that he would be a good head coach for you, but um, he's there. Thomas Brown, Bears former interim head coach and offensive coordinator that finished the season off relatively strong against the Packers, which is really all that I care to remember about last season.
Okay.
And Clint Kubiak is going to he's like the best offensive option, I think. That's on the
Yeah.
table. So there's that. The Buffalo Bills, like I said, there's not a ton here. They have interviewed Joe Brady and requested to interview Brian Daboll, Anthony Lynn, Lou Anarumo, Grant Udinski, and Anthony Weaver. If they
That's
hire Daboll,
I don't. Yeah.
I'm going
That'll
to
be
laugh so hard.
that'll be real interesting. Yeah, none of those names pop out to me as like, yes, we need to get him. Or,
I,
I hope I'm pleasantly surprised in the coming days and weeks.
We'll see, because we also like that's just all that has been reported to this point. They might interview a lot more people. They might interview a few people we don't know. Um, Jumping down to the Cleveland Browns again, not a lot of information, which is very interesting. Um, Todd Monken and Jim Schwartz have both completed their second interviews. So Todd Monken is another guy. He
Who's
has
signed on
followed
already?
Harbaugh to the Giants, but is still interviewing with the Browns. Um,
Yeah, and we
it's the
have that
Browns.
at the bottom of our list for a
Yes.
reason. No one really wants that job. I mean, it's a tough situation over there. You have actually two quarterbacks now because they got rid of one halfway through the season. But you have
Yep.
two quarterbacks who you're not really confident in yet. It's just a bad situation over there.
And then they have today Grant Udinski, the Jaguars offensive coordinator, received a second interview. We'll wait to hear more on that probably next week. I mean, the job should be filled by next week, regardless. And then Nate Shieldhouse, the Rams passing game coordinator, that has one of the coolest names and most fun names to say in all of coaching.
Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. Now, the Raiders have interviewed everybody and their mother. So I'm going to blast through these. There's one name in particular I want to highlight briefly, but I'll just blast through the rest of these. Ejiro Overo and Jesse Minter both got second interviews. Obviously, Minter took the Baltimore job. Mike McDaniel was interviewed. Clay Kubiak, the 49ers offensive coordinator, was interviewed. Joe Brady, Nate Shieldhouse, Mike LaFleur, Chris Shula, Matt Nagy, Davis Webb, Vance Joseph, and Clint Kubiak. Davis Webb is a guy that's been getting a lot of looks. He's the Broncos quarterback coach. People love him. They kind of see him as a quarterback whisperer, I think. So that would be interesting to see. Ejiro Overo, again, all name team for coaches for sure. Dials up some pretty fun defenses, and I'd be very interested to see how that goes. I would just love to see, like, same thing with Cam Ward. I would love to see an offensive coach that can give Mendoza a consistent offensive system to start off his career. The Steelers. Anthony Weaver, Brian Flores both got second interviews. Again, don't think Brian Flores gets a head coaching job because he also signed an extension with the Vikings, which makes me think that he doesn't trust he's going to get a head coaching job. But if he was going to get a head coaching job, it would be with the Steelers. I do believe that. And then Nate Shieldhouse, Chris Shula, Clay Kubiak, and Ejiro Overo have all completed their interviews. And Mike McCarthy, they have requested to interview.
Mike McCarthy. Okay.
Which would be interesting. It would really buck the trend. Like I was talking about, they really like to go with their younger guys. So that would be very fascinating. Although I would understand the move. And that's
Where's
all.
Mike McCarthy right now?
He is not in football.
Okay.
Or not in the NFL, I should say. He is in football.
Right.
But I think he's in TV, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But yeah, so those are all of the coaching openings. Now it's time to move to a segment that I'm very excited for. And I'm just going to give you the floor to discuss our egregious penalties of the week. And now, to be clear, the name is a bit of a misnomer. This isn't just about penalties. This is about officiating calls in and of itself. Right? So,
yeah.
Why don't you walk us through the most egregious call of the entire weekend that everybody is still talking about?
So you have, is it down by contact or is it an interception? And the first time this takes place is in the Bills game with Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks catches the ball, then goes to the ground. His knee touches the ground. He touches the ground with the ball. Then it is, of course, the ball then leaves his hands. And the refs at that point, they say, this is an interception, Broncos ball. Then a very similar thing happens in the Bears and Rams game.
The
exact same play. Like it is pretty. You put them side by side, it's pretty much the exact same.
Just one of them was a shoulder, the other one was a knee. It's the only difference.
And then refs come out and they say, down by contact. So that, I think, that's the egregious call right there, is that inconsistency. Because I will say, as much as I hate to admit it, the more and more I do watch the clip of the Brandon Cooks catch, I lean towards, okay, that was an interception. But then it should have been an interception in both games. Not or down by contact in both games, which I would have been fine with, because if it's down by contact, the Bills win the game
Right.
because they brain out Matt Prater for the winning field goal, and it's over. But yeah, I the more and more I review that footage, because I've seen that clip a lot now, because it's been spinning in my head
Yeah.
all week. It's been living rent free in my head. I do think that is an interception, in which case it should be called an interception. And I think it's an interception because when you have the ball and you touch the ground, you have to then retain possession of the ball uh, for at least like a second or two.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks hits the ground and the ball is immediately gone. And then the same thing happens in the Bears game. So I think you have to make that call. That call has to be an interception in all cases, or down by contact in all cases. They have to pick a side there.
Yes. Consistency is the word of the day. Right? I know that for you, that call on Saturday was a killer.
Yeah.
And I feel for you. I feel for all of Bills fans everywhere. I thought it was the wrong call. I thought that... Sorry, correction. I thought it was the right call.
Yeah.
To say that he did not have full control, whatever. Then I watched it back. And I thought, no, he caught the ball and he was down by contact.
Interesting. Okay.
If I was calling it, I would say, yep, caught the ball, had possession, he's down by contact. That said, I do 100% understand the bang nature of the sport, and that's a very, very tight call to make, and that there's a lot of human error involved in sports and in officiating especially. But to be on the other end of it, to be on the right, what I said was the right end of it, and for it to be called differently, was a gut punch. Like, not many things have made me feel the way that I felt. Like, I wasn't even angry. I wasn't really depressed. I was just sad. It was just a general, like, oh, that's how it's going to be. And I know that it was because I'm almost positive the NFL heard all the noise and they said, we cannot let this happen again. And so when they're going and looking at it, and they were almost certainly told, no, you can't call it the same way. Which just drives me nuts. Because they won't walk it back either.
What's interesting is that when they made that original call, they didn't review. And obviously, because it was in overtime, coach couldn't challenge.
Yeah.
But they should have at least reviewed,
They
just to make sure
absolutely
that
should. The fact that they didn't is mind-boggling to me, because you don't review it, you stay with the call on the field, and then you do review it the next game when it's not in overtime.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. Like, all we want is consistency, and if you can't give it to us in the regular season, you have to find a way to give it to us in the postseason, in the games that matter the most.
Yeah.
Right? And so, that was also, I concur. I think that is the egregious penalty of the weekend. It doesn't get much worse than that. Well, that's probably going to be the easiest segment for egregious penalty of the week that we will ever have.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on. We can't spend a ton of time on it, but we absolutely have to preview the conference championship games coming up. I picked one player in one game that I really want to preview, and then we can talk about the other games if you have anything else on that as well, of course.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
I'm really going to be watching Anthony Bradford, who is the starting right guard for the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
He's bad.
Uh-huh.
I looked up PFF's grades. His overall grade is a 50.6. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 100. It's a 50.6, which ranks 70th out of 81 qualifying players at the guard position. That puts him overall in the 14th percentile. In pass protection, he has a whopping 40.8 grade, which ranks 76th out of 81. It puts him in the 7th percentile for pass protection at guard. His run blocking is a little bit better at 54.7. Bumping up to 57th out of 81.
Okay.
Not a good football player.
Okay.
Much better than me, to be sure. But as far as NFL guards go, he is just not a good football player. And he is the true weakest link on this offensive line. I'm very curious to see what Chris Shula does with his D-line to exploit that weakness.
Okay, yeah.
Because how do you beat Sammy D? You make him freak out.
You make him see ghosts.
Yes, you reveal the ghosts and you let him loose and you freak him out. I'm actually really excited thinking about some of the funky looks that we might get out of Jared Verse and Byron Young. Because those guys are two monsters, and being able to see them do what they do best out of some funky looks is going to be really, really interesting. I feel we're going to see quite a few one-on-one opportunities. And on the other side, Clint Kubiak's going to be doing everything he can to not let that weakness completely dismantle their entire game plan.
Yeah, can the Rams ram through that O-line? Or can people like Gray Zabel and the rest of the O-line, can they be Ghostbusters? Can they be Ghostbusters and make sure that Sam doesn't see ghosts? That'll be, I think,
hide the ghosts before you can see them.
Yeah. That'll be the big question of that game. And I think absolutely, considering what's happened with Bo Nix, that's going to be the most interesting game of the weekend is Rams Seahawks. Yeah. It's probably going to be, in a way, the Super Bowl itself.
You can very easily make that argument. Yeah. You can very easily make that argument. I do have some notes for the championship game, but I'm actually going to save that for our next segment because I have one that you might. I think I can get you to bite on. But do you have any notes?
Well, I'm excited to hear it. About the
championship games that are coming up.
Not necessarily. I have some of the some fun penny bets for it.
All right. Well, then without further ado, let's jump into the penny bets. Now, you guys have seen right up here, we have this little icon with cents next to it, and we both have 0. We came up with this idea where we're going to be placing bets over the course of the year. So this will not just be during the season. This will be like over the course of the off season. A year-round thing, and we're going to bring a few bets to the table every episode. And assuming that we can get the other person to take the bet, we're going to have a running tally of how far up we are. And once we reach a certain threshold that we have not determined yet, one of us will have to cash out. And so what that means, what that looks like, will be determined in the future. But we are super excited to see how this goes. Now, my first penny bet.
Okay.
Kenneth Walker will finish with over 200 scrimmage yards.
In what time range?
In the game.
In a game. In one game.
In this game. Against the Rams, he will have Seahawks. More than 200 yards.
More than 200 yards. Okay. I don't know. I probably say I lean towards no.
That is rushing and receiving combined. Just to be clear.
Rushing and okay. Well, I'm a little bit more convinced, but I'm gonna say no for fun.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I'll do. We'll do this. 250. That's how confident I am.
Okay.
I will bump it up to
Okay.
250. All right. So you're taking that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'll take that.
Give me one of yours.
Okay. One of my not specifically for this game. It is the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. Which, I mean, you might agree with. You don't have to take it.
That feels way too feasible for me to take you up on it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I do not have any conviction against it. So I don't think I can take that bet.
I've got one you're definitely going to take me up on, but I'll let you do your next one. I've got one that you're definitely going to take me up on. I wouldn't even know if I want to take it, but it's going to be fun if it happens. So I'll let you go to your next one though.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Drake May will fumble the ball 2 times in this game. At least 2 times.
So if I take that, I'm saying no, he doesn't. He
Correct.
only fumbles.
You're saying he will fumble once or less.
Yeah, so I'm not confident. I don't want to take that because of the the Denver defense. I don't want to.
That's 2 fumbles. That's 2 fumbles.
I can see that happening. Very, very easily.
I thought I was gonna get you to bite on that one for sure.
No, I bite in the first one. The second one, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Okay, here's my second one. This is not the big one. This is
Okay.
probably an easy one. I had JSN gets over 100 receiving yards on Sunday. Again, that's probably a really low volume.
I'll do you one better. JSN gets 150 yards.
Okay, we could do that. I'm good with that one.
Now I'm realizing that I've said JSN's gonna get 150 and Kenneth Walker's gonna get 250. So I may have just boomed myself, but
because it probably was going to be one or the other. But we'll see.
We ball. All right.
Okay.
Can I interest you in 125 yards from JSN?
Yeah, 125. Right. So we're saying if JSN gets over 125, I get the point. If he's under 125, you get it.
Is that your bet? Are you saying that he gets more?
That's my bet.
Okay, you're saying he gets more.
Yes.
Okay, I will take you up on that in no small part because I am saying that Kenneth Walker will get over 250.
Okay. I have one more. How many more do you have?
I'm trying to decide if I want to. You know what? Screw it.
Okay.
The Broncos will beat the Patriots. And their defense will score 14 points or more.
So,
technically 12 points, you get the point.
Man, my third bet was Garrett Stidham and the Broncos defense somehow beats the Patriots. That's exactly what I wrote, word for word. That's my third one. That's not fair, Bryce. I should have saved it.
Well,
that's what I knew. I was like, I know you're gonna bite on this one because I figured you would be betting in favor of the Patriots.
And if I was a smart man, I would.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you're putting forward that bet, I'll take it because I'm more confident in the Patriots. I thought I was making a dumb mistake by making that bet, but it was funny, so I made it anyway. I'll take it. Yeah. No.
Okay. Kenneth Walker will finish with over 250 scrimmage yards. JSN will finish with under 125 yards. Broncos win, and the defense scores more than 12. Oh, okay. The defense scores twice.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have one more.
You have one more. Okay. Let's hear it.
And I don't want to say it because I know that Rams Nation has been very good to me. And they have been so good to me. They have, in many ways, they are the reason that we are here right now. They really lit that fire in me that had laid dormant for so long. My final penny bet is that the Rams will score less than 14 points.
Less than 14 points. Against that Seattle defense. I'll take it.
All right. That, again, I don't like it. But if there's one unit I trust in this entire picture right now, it's that Seahawks defense.
It's true. But I think the Rams could get a little bit more than 14 points. So I think I'll take it.
I think so too. I just something's just nibbling at the back of my brain, man. I don't know what it is, but something's nibbling.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that would be a great call. And then, yeah, Rams Nation, they're going to be coming after you for making that.
I really hope not. I hope they can understand that this is a football fan's heart talking. And I don't want to be clear, if there was a way to just swap the conferences around a little bit and have it so that the Rams and Seahawks can meet in the Super Bowl, I would do it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I honestly, I just don't want either of these seasons to end. Like, Stafford's MVP run has been awesome, and I think he's going to win it. And he's just been.
You kind of want to see him get the Super Bowl, that second Super Bowl,
absolutely,
as that, like, for his storyline, as the final crux of his career. You kind of want to see that happen. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and there's just something about at the beginning of the season, there was question he was ever going to play football again.
Right. Yeah.
And then I don't know if he was communing with some spirits or what, but he now is playing the best football he's ever played in his life.
They put him in that sci-fi chamber, and we don't really know what happened in there. So, yeah, I mean,
everything's on the table.
Yeah.
But those are our penny bets. Tune in next week. We will open up the show with all of these, because these will all actually. Well, sorry, I almost forgot to write in your first one, which is that the Seahawks win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So there's a chance. There's technically a chance that all of these will be paid out at the top of the show next week. There's also a chance that the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, and we'll have to wait a couple more weeks. But to cap that off, Kenneth Walker over 250 yards. Jason under 125 yards. This is all for me. Vice versa for Alex, of course.
Yeah.
The Broncos win, and the defense scores twice. Every time I read that, I think I should have made it, or the defense scores twice, but we ball. The Rams score less than 14 points, and the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. Sorry, for me, it should be the Seahawks will lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Or don't even make it. They lose this Sunday. Yeah.
That's tough, because I think if I was going to make a pick, it would probably be the Seahawks. But
yeah,
I don't have enough courage to not take the bet.
Yeah.
I do not have the courage of my conviction. Because even if they make it to the Super Bowl and the Broncos somehow win, that defense could absolutely get after Sam Darnold and muck things up in a pretty spectacular way. But I think that is it for Penny Bets. Now moving on, I actually turned both of my freezing cold takes into Penny Bets. So I no longer have any freezing cold takes. What are your freezing cold takes to cap off the show?
What are my freezing cold takes? Okay. My first one was like, all right, I admit it. That was an interception in the Bills game. That was my first one. I was like, after further review of the footage, my icy cold take number 2, they should let Josh Allen QB for Denver the next 2 weeks. It's not real. It's just, but
just so he can win something.
Yeah, so he could win a Super Bowl, and I mean, they got a good thing going on in Denver right now. They don't have a QB. It's kind of unfair. They lost their QB. Just put Josh Allen in there. Let him get a Super Bowl ring. Let the Broncos get a Super Bowl victory. Everyone's happy. Both those fandoms are happy. But that's kind of not really serious. But this is serious. This next one.
Okay.
This came out of that. I thought we need to have a Super Bowl at some point. Maybe it's just like a random number, like Super Bowl 75 or something.
Okay.
That is spoils of war.
I saw you mention this when you were texting me. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Okay. You have the 4 rounds, right? Or like you have any playoffs. You have your wild card round. You have your quarterfinals, semifinals. Every time a team beats a team, spoils of war, they get to take players from the other team, add it to their team. So you can take a running back, you can take the quarterback if you want, you can take wide receivers, and all the teams are doing this up until the Super Bowl. So you kind of have like a Pro Bowl situation inside NFL football, and
I see.
that's what they can't do this every year. They can't do this every year. I'm not saying that, but let's just at least let's do it once. Let's make it a once. Like it's like once every 25 years or something they do this in football, or maybe once every 10 years or so, or 15 years. Like once every like.
So you're just going full dystopia.
Yeah. They do this every like blank amount of years. They have a spoils of war where you take the players and then you have the mega team going into the Super Bowl of players from the other teams that you've conquered on your way to the Super Bowl.
I really hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
There is one massive flaw with your plan.
Okay, hit me.
Playbooks.
Yeah, I know.
Even if we set aside the idea that these guys are having to learn an entire playbook in like 5 days to prepare for the game, this also requires every team to give away their entire playbook to their biggest rivals.
Yeah, it's not like there's a lot of holes here. Okay. But think about the content that will be created by that.
It would be nuts.
How epic it will be. And Phillip Rivers was on the couch one weekend and playing in the NFL the next weekend. Now, mind you, he did have a much greater idea of the playbook already. I know, because he's been using it. He's been running it for his high school, so there's that.
And also, he ran it in his last season of the NFL as well.
Okay, so there's that. I just think it'd be a really cool idea. And that's why it is my freezing cold take.
I'll tweak it for you a little bit to make it even more feasible.
Okay.
What if we just did that for the Pro Bowl?
Well, yeah, then you'd have to stretch out the Pro Bowl between a couple of weeks then.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah.
Or you just they're all already making it flag football, so just make it flag football. Yep. Play 7-on-7, and then I don't know. Still wouldn't watch it, but it'd be cooler, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't want it for the Pro Bowl. I mean, like,
Actually,
I guess you could make the Pro Bowl like a month-long thing, and then,
True.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then
you probably would want to do it after the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of like the post.
That's not the worst idea. Do it after the Super Bowl. Like we don't. Yeah, I did come up with a freezing cold take while you were talking.
Okay. Well, hit me.
Caleb Williams is right now, as of this moment, a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I don't think I disagree with that, honestly.
The guy that has the worst completion percentage as a starting quarterback is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And no one can tell me different. I don't want to hear it. He is a stone cold killer. The interception will live with me forever. But you know what? So will that throw to DJ Moore in overtime against the Packers. So will that 4th and 8 to Roma Dunze. So will that incredible touchdown to send the game to overtime last week. Like, that throw to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone in the Browns game, where he's rolling to his right and throws it in the tiniest window I've ever seen in a triple coverage, and DJ comes down with it. Those 4 throws. This will segue into another freezing cold take. Those 4 throws are 4 of the 7 greatest throws of all time.
Wow.
And he did it in the span of like 2 months.
Okay. That's a take for sure.
Those are my like. Okay, that Browns throw was literally the catch that Joe Montana is famous for. His most famous play that he's ever had. And Caleb did it from like 15 yards further out. So I have a hard time saying that those throws aren't at worst 4 of the 5 greatest throws I've ever seen. The only throw that I would put in that discussion is Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers, where you weren't there for that. He was getting massacred. It was ugly. He had no offensive line, and he was running for his life the whole game. And he rolls out, and it was kind of like what Caleb did against the Packers on that 4th and 8, where he's not even really on the ground. He's diving like horizontal, and he chucks the ball in the end zone. Nothing but pure arm talent. And it hits the receiver in the head, and he drops it. And I think it was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and it was very sad. But those are our freezing cold takes for this week. I'm sure that everyone will absolutely love them and will not have any issues with any of those takes.
Not controversial at all.
And feel free to leave all of your agreements, and I mean, not that you'll have any, but your disagreements as well, if you do think of any, down in the comments. We'd love to chat with you. We will be there. We'll be chatting with you guys. Leave a like, subscribe. We are so excited to get this all started, get this all smoothed out as well as we go along. We are just so excited to be here. Alex, anything you want to add?
It's been a fun time, and I'm looking forward to keeping this going.
Yeah, absolute blast. Just remember, guys, have a great one. We will see you all next Friday.